It is 2026. It's crazy to even say that, but here we are. And you might be reflecting on last year and thinking we cannot do our relationship the same way we did. Maybe life was really challenging and a lot of things were coming your way and it was hard to balance it all. Maybe there were crises in your relationship and now you're kind of looking at the rubble going, how do we rebuild this? Or maybe it wasn't that dramatic, but you're looking at each other and going, we just don't feel like we're connected anymore. We just feel like roommates. I know for my husband and I, we were looking over 2025 and we're like, that was probably one of the worst years in our relationship. And it wasn't necessarily because of our relationship, but it was because of all of the external stressors and the impact it was having on our relationship. So we had to get way back down to the basics to be able to rebuild the foundation of our relationship and start to feel strong again as a couple. And that was a beautiful thing we could do over the holiday vacation, was to refocus and look at how we did things last year that will not be repeated this year. Those things did not work for us and we need to do things differently. It's also making us both look at how we work, our work-life balance, how we want to grow our businesses, and does it make sense in the context of the relationship and family we want to have? Those are really hard conversations to have, and they take sitting down and being honest with yourself first before you can talk to your partner. Now, today's episode is going to be talking about how to plan your year like a power couple and really looking at how we can create shared goals that strengthen your marriage rather than individual goals that tear you down. Now, before we get started, I want to make sure you're aware that January 21st will be our first live masterclass of this year. I'm going to be talking about how to reconnect emotionally without the marathon talks. And if you're able to show up live, you get my difficult conversations template, which is going to make it so much easier when you do need to have those hard conversations to keep you on track and not kind of spiderweb all your thoughts and problem stack all the issues, right? In this masterclass, I'm going to be teaching you how to identify the 3 communication patterns causing emotional divorce without blaming your partner yourself, right? Like we need to stop this whole finger pointing and just really be honest that there's this disconnection. And here are the communication patterns causing them. And then I'm going to be teaching you how to separate fix-it mode from feel-it mode, because these are 2 different areas of our relationship. And most of us are staying in fix-it mode. We're in performance mode. So make sure to mark your calendar and register in the link in the show notes. I hope I get to see you there. Okay, so go grab a warm drink, maybe a warm blanket, depending on what part of the world you're in, and let's dive in. Welcome to Relationship Reset, a podcast for high-achieving couples who've been together for over a decade and don't want to feel like roommates anymore. I'm Katie Rustler, relationship strategist and couples counselor with almost 20 years of experience helping ambitious couples reconnect, strengthen communication, and turn their relationship into the best part of their success story. This podcast is about using practical tools and a lot of real talk to help you understand your patterns, stop feeling stuck and discouraged, and start working on your relationship in ways that actually fit your busy life. Because your relationship shouldn't be the cost of your success, it should be the best part of it. So let's dive in. Have you ever noticed how you and your partner can be absolute pros at planning everything else? Your careers, your finances, your kids' schedules, your vacations, but when it comes to planning your relationship, it's kind of like, we'll figure it out as we go. Or it just feels so hard to even start that it's like, well, things keep working, so we'll just keep going with the flow. And listen, I get it. Most couples don't sit down and say, okay, what's our shared vision for the next year of our marriage? But here's what I see over and over again with high-achieving couples. When you don't plan your relationship intentionally, life plans it for you. Anyone else have their hand raised? Yep. And life is not always gentle, is it? So today we're talking about how to plan your year like a power couple, not in a rigid, pressure-filled way, but in a way that actually strengthens your marriage. I can't tell you how many couples I work with who say some version of, we love each other or we care about each other. We're just really busy and tired and stressed. And suddenly a year goes by and things are exactly the same, if not worse. And then another year and another, right? Nothing is wrong exactly, but nothing feels especially intentional either. And what we notice is over time, the disconnect grows stronger when we're not more intentional about taking time for each other. And knowing what to do with that time, that's half the battle, right? There are many seasons in my own marriage where we were crushing it professionally in our own ways, right? And then we were managing the kids and managing life. And yet emotionally, we were more like co-CEOs than romantic partners. Like, great that we can get things done, but where's the romance? Where's the excitement to be in this relationship? I wasn't waking up each day going like, whew, I am so glad I'm in this marriage. It was like, whew, what do we got to get done today? And often we think that to improve our relationship, we need to argue less or we need to talk more or whatever, right? But the couples who thrive long term aren't necessarily the ones who fight less. They're the ones who keep realigning. They pause, they look up, and they ask, are we still headed in the same direction? So here's something we need to realize. A relationship without a shared direction will default to survival mode. I'm going to say that again. A relationship without a shared direction will default to survival mode. When couples don't have shared goals, everything becomes reactive. We argue about logistics instead of meaning. We focus on the tasks instead of connection. We solve problems, but we're not building anything together. Shared goals give your relationship a container. It gives it greater meaning. They remind you we're not just getting through the week, we're building something together. Now, let me say this clearly because some of you are high achievers, most of you, and you may already be making a spreadsheet in your head if you're like my husband. Your relationship is not a performance review. This isn't about fixing your partner, becoming a better couple, or optimizing your marriage like a productivity system, okay? Think of shared goals more like a compass than a checklist. I often use the analogy you can be working really hard and still walking in the wrong direction. You can be putting all this emphasis in trying to make your relationship better, more date nights, more times to talk, trying new hobbies that one or both of you hate. You're working really hard, but you're going in the wrong direction. When you have shared goals, they help you answer questions like, what matters to us this year? Where do we want to grow? Because we're evolving. We are growing individually, so where do we as a couple want to grow? What kind of energy do we want in our home? That was a big one for my husband and I as we talked about what we want personally and professionally in 2026 and then compared it to what we want for our family and our home. They didn't match, people. They didn't match. So we had to get really honest then about what are our priorities. Is it our careers and our personal goals? Or is it really raising 3 amazing kids and helping them to be successful while we do these things? Well, if so, then we have to take some step backs in areas we thought we were going to go full force in. And that included us looking at our relationship. Hey, how we ran things this last year was not sustainable. What do we want to do differently this year? How are we going to connect? How are we going to make sure we have the time? My husband likes to say, if you don't make time for important, important won't happen. And I know that's a quote from someone else, but I always just say he says it because it's like his way of thinking. And you know what? I'm starting to understand it and believe it too. He's right. If I don't schedule in, this night is blocked. I'm not going to work. I am going to be intentionally with my partner. And no, not just always in front of Netflix, but playing a game, going for a walk, having a conversation about something that lights us both up. That's what I need to be prioritizing. That's what I need to be making important and scheduling so important happens. When I guide couples through yearly planning, we don't plan everything. We focus on 3 core areas: connection, how do we want to feel together this year? Not what do you want to do, but how you want to feel. More playful, more grounded, more connected, more peaceful. Then growth. What is stretching us in a healthy way? This could be personal growth, relationship skills, or even navigating a new season like career changes, health challenges, your kids getting older, or the kids are gone and you have an empty nest. The third area is support. How do we support each other better this year? This is where couples often realize, oh, I've been assuming you know what I need. I figured you've known me for so long, you knew exactly what it was and you just didn't want to give it to me. I don't care how long I've been with my partner, I cannot read his mind. And assumptions are where resentment loves to live, right? A lot of the resentment we hold is linked to assumptions we had or, again, assumed our partner knew, and it was never clearly communicated. When couples create shared goals, something subtle but powerful happens. They stop feeling like I'm carrying all of this alone. You're in your world and I'm in mine. We're just managing. We're getting by. And they start feeling like we're a team again. We're moving towards something together. We're choosing each other, not just coexisting. That shift alone can change how you handle conflict, how you deal with stress, and even how you connect intimately. So here are 3 things you can do this week. Choose a word for your relationship this year, not a goal, a word. Here's an example. Like you could use stability or repair, adventure, simplicity, playfulness. Pick your one word as a couple. And then get really clear on why you chose that word, right? Like, why do we want more playfulness in our relationship? Well, the last year was pretty dull and it's been super stressful and we need to laugh together more and we need to be playful and have fun again. We missed that. Okay. So our word is playful or playfulness. And therefore this year, That's our goal each month. How do we schedule playfulness? See, it helps us have like a common vision and what we want to be going towards. And it makes it so much easier when we sit down and look at our calendar each month to go, how are we scheduling that in? How are we scheduling repair in? How are we scheduling simplicity in? The next thing I want you to do this week is separate relationship goals from life logistics. We get these so mixed up that things like a failure to empty the dishwasher when we've asked it becomes you don't love me or respect me anymore, right? Versus, hey, you struggle with remembering things. And this is a project that needs to get done and it's not my responsibility. So what are you going to do to improve this? That's operational stuff. Love is separate. Our relationship is separate. So start with questions like, what do we want more of together? What felt good last year that we want to protect? Or what did not go well, right? That we're not going to repeat. Then logistics come later, okay? So in order for you to choose that word for your relationship this year and to sit down and really create a relationship goal versus logistical goals for the year, you need to schedule intentional time together. So mark on the calendar a 30-minute block to have these conversations. What do we want this year to feel like for us? What is going to be our word? What do we want more of? What felt good last year that we want to protect? Or what did not work that we're not repeating? Okay, and here's your big homework. Go sign up for that masterclass. And then as always, every year I have for you and your partner a couples visioning and goal setting workbook. You can get it all year round, but I find that couples seem to be super motivated in January. Who knows why? To be able to sit down and go, what are our goals? And this visioning and goal setting workbook makes it super easy and clear what to focus on in discussing relationship goals. So go grab that in the show notes. Planning your year like a power couple isn't about pressure. It's about alignment. It's about choosing your relationship on purpose instead of hoping it stays strong on autopilot. Let's get out of autopilot. Let's stop assuming everything will just, quote, work out. Life is tough. And if we're not intentional about our relationship growth, it isn't going to really grow. Okay, everyone, I hope I get to see you in the masterclass, but especially next week for our next episode. Before you go, I want to leave you with this. The effort you put into your relationship is one of the most important investments you'll ever make. How you communicate and grow together shapes your home, your leadership, and the example you set for the people around you. Relationship work is truly legacy work, and it quietly impacts more lives than we often realize. If this episode resonated, consider sharing it with someone you care about, a partner, a friend, or another couple who's building a full life and want their relationship to be the best part of it too. And if you're enjoying these conversations, make sure to follow or subscribe to Relationship Reset. Leaving a rating or review also helps this message reach more couples who are ready to grow with intention. I'll see you next week.